Hi there, thanks for joining today. Today I'm going to be walking you through the process of connecting Tax1099 and Bill.com for 1099 processing. So first of all, before we get started with the connection, we want to make sure that we have all of our vendors set up correctly in Bill.com for processing in the 1099 system. So to start out with, we are going to just confirm that we have all the settings on our 1099 vendors, primarily that they are selected yes for 1099 eligible, and if they are a yes, that they have a tax ID entered. So the easiest way to do this is to export a list of our vendors. So we can go to settings and go to import export, and then this top option here is for vendors. So I'm just going to choose to export and export all, and this will take just a few seconds to generate this report. So once that report is ready, we can just go ahead and click on it to download. And then open it up here. And this would be a list of all of our vendors in the Bill.com system. So we have our vendor name here. We have whether or not they are eligible for 1099, and then their tax ID in this field. So you can see the two at the bottom here. I just want to confirm that I do indeed have their tax IDs entered. And you'll also want to confirm that you have a mailing address as well as an email address if you do intend to mail the 1099. And so for these other vendors that are no's, we technically don't need to put anything in this tax ID field. However, what I do like to recommend is that you enter an NA if they are not eligible for 1099, and then a reason why. So for instance, here I have NA C Corp or NA S Corp. This vendor is being used for an internal purpose, and so I have NA internal. That way when you go to process your 1099s, you know that you've actually reviewed the vendor profile, you know that you have collected the W-9, and then you know specifically why they're not eligible for 1099. And the reason that this is important is because the default setting for Bill.com is to have the vendor listed as a no, and then to leave this field blank. So even if a vendor was a no, but you left this field blank, you may not remember when going to process your 1099s that you actually did collect the W-9, that you did review the vendor, and that they legitimately do not need a 1099 issued to them. So this is just an easy way to make it clear who does and does not need a 1099. So now that we have confirmed that we have entered what we need, the information for these two, the next step will be to make sure that we have our chart of accounts mapped for the 1099 processing. So let's start out by taking a look at those two vendors because we want to look at what types of payments were made to them. So I'm going to start with A1 Repair Service, and we have an invoice here, and on this invoice, two types of payments. The total payment was $1,200, but we have it split into repairs and maintenance and then also job supplies. So only the repairs and maintenance would require reporting on the 1099. And then the other vendor was Nikki's Design Studio. And so for her as well, we had a total payment of $900, but part of it was for subcontractor wages, and then it looks like some type of reimbursement was made for office expenses. So only this part for the service would be reported on the 1099. So now we need to go into Bill.com and assign those two accounts to the appropriate 1099 setting. So to do that, we go to Settings, and then we go down here to the Chart of Accounts. And then this would be the whole chart of accounts that is synced over from your QuickBooks Online file. And you would want to do this for any 1099 account, but we'll just look at those two. So easiest way is to probably just search for them. So I have repairs and maintenance here. And then this is where you would set the category for your 1099. So I have it set already here, but in case it wasn't, we would just go ahead and click Edit and then select the category here. All right, now let's do the same thing for the other one, which was subcontractor wages. And again, this was already set, but in case it wasn't, we would just click Edit and then choose the correct category. Okay, so now that we have those set, the next step is to actually go ahead and link the Tax 1099 system. So we're going to do that by going to Settings, and then under your Apps section. If you've already connected it, you'll see that it's listed here as an option, and in case you hadn't connected it, you would click View All, and then it would be one of the default recommendations for apps to connect to. So we've already connected the Tax 1099 system, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on that here, and then I'm going to click Launch. Okay, so this one brought me into the dashboard, but this isn't the correct place to start the process for the filing. So sometimes it will bring you in directly to a Bill.com and Tax 1099 connection, but if you end up on this dashboard, the way to get there is to go over here on your left-hand side, go to Import, and then go to Bill.com. And so this is the proper place to start the processing of the 1099s for the integration. And sometimes when you click Launch, it will bring you directly here. Sometimes it will bring you to that dashboard. So once you're on this page, you can go ahead and select your company. So if you had multiple companies that you were working with, you would see a list here, but we only have one in this example. So we'll just click Demo. And then we'll select our tax year and then the form. So 2020 is the first year that we've seen this new NEC form, and this form is going to be used for reporting non-employee compensation in 2020 and presumably going forward. No longer will those types of payments be reported on the 1099 miscellaneous. So we're going to choose the NEC form, and then we'll click Load Data. So once you get to this option that says Select Filter Option, you want to make sure to click On. If you were to click No, it would bring in all of the payments for those two vendors that were marked as 1099 eligible. So for instance, under A1 it had the services, and then it also had job supplies. If we clicked off, it would bring in both of those, but we only want to bring in the services. So we're going to click On. And then you can see here that it brought in both A1 as well as Nikki's Design Studio. And just to show you the example here, so $1,000, so if we go back under A1, again, the total payment to him was $1,200, but only $1,000 was related to repairs and maintenance, and then the remaining $200 was related to supplies. And so in the 1099, we only want to report the $1,000. So if the button is green next to the vendor name, that means Tax 1099 has all of the information it needs to process it, tax ID, address, email, etc. If there was a red dot, that means there's missing information. So you can see we actually have a red dot up at the payer here. So we want to edit that to see what's missing, and it looks like we're missing the tax ID. Oops. So we'll go ahead and enter that and click Update. And then we get our green dot, so we should be good to go. So we'll click Select All and then click Next. And then it gives you a preview of what the form looks like. So we can see here that it's the NEC form. We can see the compensation being reported. This is the payer information in this section here. And then you can see the recipient's information in this section here. So everything looks good here. So we're just going to go ahead and click next. And then it walks you through your options for filing. So you can see here actually that I have some duplicates here, and this is because I have already linked this at one point. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete these two because they're duplicates. And then these are the two remaining that I want to file. So here it gives you the option of how you want to file the 1099. So I have the option for US mail, also the option for emailing the recipient, and then the filing is actually state filing if your state requires it, and typically if the state does, it will select this button for you automatically. So you can send either US mail, only emailing, or choose both. So I'm going to choose to select both. So we'll send it both by mail and as well as email. And then click the button to proceed with the filing and click next. And then it's going to give us a little pop-up here with some more information. So it says, even though this date here is out in the future, the email is going to be sent right away. And then the recipient will also receive the mailed copy within 5 to 7 days. So this scheduled date is actually the date that Tax1099 is filing it with the IRS. So we'll just acknowledge that and click OK and click Next. And then this would be the final page where you enter your payment information and click Submit. And then you have officially processed your 1099s.